I hope you bought your 6-pack of beer because the playoffs are starting really soon, finally. Let's talk about Penguins versus Islanders playoff series preview and prediction round 1. Now, this is the first video in a series of 8, which I'll be doing of each of the playoff matchups that are coming up very shortly. The next one's going to be about Boston versus Washington. Let's begin. Now, the Penguins took this series with 6 wins and 2 losses versus the Islanders. The Penguins, of course, finished first in the East with 77 points, and New York finished fourth with 71. Let's talk about some simple stats here, starting with goals for and who has the edge. Penguins finished first as the shooting of this video. I did not think I thought they might be in the top 12, but I didn't think they'd be in the top 5. They continue to surprise us. The Islanders finished 19th. That is no surprise. But then the world turns upside down when it comes to goals against. The Penguins are 16th in the league. Not horrible. And the Islanders are second, not surprising, with Trotz behind the bench. Now, special teams. On the power play, Pittsburgh is 4th in the league. They're bread and butter here, and the Islanders are 21st. On the penalty kill, this is yin and yang. The Penguins are 26th, sort of kind of horrible, and the Islanders are 6th. So do these special teams cancel each other out? We'll see. Face-off wins. The Penguins are 21st in the league, and the Islanders are 9th. Of course, this stat becomes more important in the playoffs, as does hits per game, because you'll see less space out there with all the bodies flying around. Pittsburgh is 10th in the league in this category, and the Islanders are 3rd. Now, let's talk about how many 20-plus goal scorers each of these teams has. Just to give you perspective here, the Penguins have 3 with Crosby, Gensel, and Rust. The Islanders have 0. When it comes to players with 40-plus points, the Penguins have 4 with Crosby, Letang, Gensel, and Rust. And the Islanders have 1 with Barzal, although they do have 5 players with 30-plus points, including, of course, Barzal. Injuries. Penguins are mostly healed up here. Jarry, DeSmith, Matheson, and Rodrigue were day-to-day as the shooting of this video, but they should be ready and going for the start of the playoffs. Tanev, I'm not 100% sure on. If you want to give me an update later on, you can tell me in the comment section. I think he'll at least get into this series at some point. For the Islanders, of course, their captain, Anders Lee, is out with a lower body injury. That just sucks big, hairy you-know-what for them. Losing their captain, you would hope them grabbing Zajac and Palmieri would kind of help off-balance that. Not so much so. They haven't been great so far with that club, as opposed to Carter, who's been terrific with Pittsburgh so far. Now, let's move on to some categorized stats for each of the positions, starting with the goaltenders. Now, Pittsburgh, we know Tristan Jarry will probably start, right? Now, in regular season, in 39 games, he had a .909 save percentage. League average is .908. In the playoffs, he's got 1 game experience, and he was a .952, and it's hard to give much credence to that, of course. Casey DeSmith played 20 games this season, had a .912 save percentage, slightly better, but again, he has even less playoff experience, 0. On the Islander side, Simon Verlamov is your starter. In 36 games during the regular season, he had a .929 save percentage. Unbelievable. New York Islander goalies usually do have sparkling numbers, but this is especially terrific. In the playoffs, he's got 46 games of experience there, with an average of a .915 save percentage in 4 different seasons that he's been to the big show. In his last playoffs with the Islanders, though, he was a .921 in 20 games in the playoffs there. Now, Ilya Sorokin, during the regular season, he played 22 games for the Islanders, had a .918 save percentage. Pretty decent. Pretty good, actually. And of course, he has no playoff games. However, for what it's worth, in the KHL, in 69 games there over, I think it was 5 different seasons, he had a .941 save percentage. Now, defense. Starting with goals for Pittsburgh from their D, they've had 28. 7 of those are from Letang. I have to drink some water here. I'm about to choke. Oh, God. Excuse me. The defense from the Islanders has 15. Almost half of that. Pelech leads the way there with 4. Point-wise, the Pittsburgh defense has 124 points overall. Letang has 45 of those. The next best is Cody Ceci with 17. More on that later. For the Islanders, they've got 120 points from their defense. Not a big difference, just a 4-point difference there. And Nick Leddy has got 31 of those points. 2 of them are goals. Of course, he plays the first power play a lot. Moving on, let's talk about the forwards and goals and points. Pittsburgh has 165 goals from their forward group. Crosby's leads the way with 24 of those. For the Islanders, they have 137. Brock Nelson leads the way with 18. Points from the forward group from Pittsburgh, they've got 393. Crosby leads with 62, of course. And then the Islanders, point-wise, from their forward group, have 393 less. And Matt Barzal leads the way with 45 of those. Now, some keys to the series for each of these clubs. And I'm going to start first with the Pittsburgh Penguins. What I think, anyway, my perspective, I've got about 5 or 6 points here. First is get the first goal. Make the Isles play catch-up as much as you can, because if they get ahead, they're even more of a suffocating team to play against. They just clog up that neutral zone, and good luck with that goaltending they have, too. 5 of 8 of the regular season's games that they played against each other were 1-goal games, so maybe you could expect some close ones. Pittsburgh has got to keep New York to the outside, obviously, and cut down on those garbage goals against, because that's sort of their bread and butter, right? Also, don't let Barzal breathe, Penguins. Not a breath, because he's, of course, is their best player, most offensive one. Anyways, the forwards on Pittsburgh need to support their defense for quick exits, and just don't let the Islanders get on that cycle. And lastly here, for the Penguins, make sure the goalies see all the shots and help out with those rebounds. On the Islanders side of things, for keys to the series, depth scoring. Any scoring. Just put the puck in the net and see, especially if you can get Palmieri going. Now, Last year in the playoffs, the Islanders actually really cranked up their output for offense. So that's something to look forward to. The next point: don't waste the power play. I know it's not good, but at least get in the zone and get some shots on that, and spend some time in the zone, wearing down their players. Keep the games uneventful, of course. Hit Letang every chance you get. Wear that guy down. He's their only offensive defensive player who quarterbacks one of the best power plays in the league. And test Pittsburgh's goaltending early and often by getting as many shots as you can, because they're rookies who haven't had any playoff experience. And lastly, for New York, play Islander trots hockey. Really plug up the rink and just pounce on mistakes. Now, when I break up each of these categories, and I'm going to give the edge to one or the other, starting with the goaltender, I'm, of course, giving the edge to the Islanders. Water hiccups. The defense, also giving, of course, the edge to the Islanders, although the Pittsburgh has slightly more points from their defense, but we are talking about defense here. The forward group, of course, Pittsburgh gets this edge. Carter was just a nice addition. He's been on fire since he's been with them. and he just makes other players better as well. Another weapon that they have. Special teams, maybe I give the slight edge to Pittsburgh here. I don't know. Not many penalties, of course, are called in the playoffs, so we'll see how that helps them. But of course, you should be taking advantage of them when you've got it. And when it comes to the coaching, it's sort of a what have you done for me world, right? And I know Sullivan has worked magic with the Penguins during this regular season with all the injuries he's had to go through and the new players in the lineup, and so on and so forth. You got to give him cred, but Trotz, I don't know. It's hard to bet against him in the playoff time, and they eliminated Pittsburgh the year before last, and they gave Tampa Bay a real run for their money too. I got to give the edge here from the coaching standpoint to the Islanders. Now, when it comes to my prediction on who I think will win this series, every matchup, every team in the East is just so close. And ditto with this series, but I'm going to give it to the Islanders. I just have seen so much in the past 2 seasons. I really think they're going to be able to pull this one off again. And I could be wrong. And this could be a really close series. It could go, at least 6 games. And I know you can never underestimate Pittsburgh. But yeah, that's my choice. For those of you who have skipped to the end of the video, who do I think is going to win this series? Pittsburgh, hands down, without a doubt. Probably a 4-game sweep, maybe 5 games. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And you can also find me on social media on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You can find those links in the description box below. Stay tuned for my Boston versus Washington video, which is coming out next. And please, be kind to each other in this crazy world we're living in, and I'll see you soon.